Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review I am very excited to show you the NECA quarter scale epic Marvel Deadpool, the superposable badass as it says on the package. And I mean, I was expecting NECA to do a good job with this figure, and I have to say, they didn't do a good job with it. They did an incredible job with it. They knocked this out of the park on every level. I am so incredibly impressed with this figure. It's boggling to me that they're able to do this. And I say this all the time with NECA, and I know it's probably getting annoying for me to say the same thing over and over again. But this figure is a perfect example of why NECA is killing it in the collectible action figure market. They are making figures the way they should be made. It's amazing to me. Absolutely incredible. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand so we can take a closer look. This Deadpool stands just about 18.5 inches, almost exactly 18.5, which makes him just about 47 centimeters. So he's definitely got some size to him, and he's very heavy. This guy has a lot of plastic, and it's all very well sculpted plastic. You guys can see right off the bat, there's tons of texturing. His main suit and his mask and most of the arms and legs all have this really cool texture where it looks kind of like a canvas. Very nicely done. Let me zoom in so you can see that a little bit closer. Very cool. Most of the black is this kind of satin, flat, leathery looking black. And then we have the glossy shoulder pad area, which is extra wrinkly and has some rivets and some stitch marks. And the straps here are all sculpted very well with stitch marks again and extra straps and studs and things. If you look down at the belt, again, we see all kinds of detail. Everything on this guy is sculpted. They didn't leave anything untouched. We have these additional straps on the arms, which obviously Deadpool is known for. They are all sculpted on. None of these things are actually separate pieces, but they have the little tabs on the end sculpted like you would have for a real strap. We have these cool kind of armored elbow pads and knee pads, which also have all sculpt work, all paint work. It's everything on this guy. It's just very incredibly... Look at the stitch marks on the back of these straps right here. No companies put that kind of effort into the backs of the figures. I mean, sure some do, but come on. I mean, look at that. That's all hand sculpted. I don't believe they did digital sculpting on this guy. I'm pretty sure it's all hand sculpted. I could be wrong, but either way, it's impressive. It's incredibly impressive. And then we can move down. Like I said, we had the straps on the arms and legs. Here's the one with the holster connected to it. That's all added onto the figure permanently. It's not going anywhere, but it looks like it could. I thought they were all separate pieces. It's not. It's all staying on there, and that's a good thing, I think. You don't need it to come off, but it looks like it could, and that's really cool. Then if we look at the hands, I'm going to go through the accessories, but I want to just show you the details first. We have this really cool chipped paint effect and all this nice armor sculpt. Very nice. And then we can move on down to the legs. You can see just like the elbows, the knee pads are very well done, more kind of battle damage on there. And he's got some shin pads where he also has a knife holster with rivets and more straps. And then the feet themselves, very well detailed. Everything on this guy looks so good. So now let's talk about accessories. We have a ton of different hands. We have the two hands that come on him in the package, which are very obviously trigger finger hands. Then we have two more gripping hands, which can be used for various accessories, whether it be kind of like a trigger finger or just for gripping something. We have two tight gripping hands, and then we have one hand with the fingers out with the 3-finger ring and the other ring for DEADPOOL. So that's kind of a cool accessory to have. We obviously have his katanas in the Scabbard. The katanas have really nice detailing on them. They look fantastic. I love them. I like the Scabbard. It has a little hole in the back for the sai, which works really nicely. I will mention the Scabbard as we're going through the review in a little bit, though, because there's one thing that's kind of an issue on it. We have his rifle, which looks really cool, and it has the removable double taped up magazines, which is very nicely detailed. The gun looks really good. You can see the rounds are painted in there, and there's nice detailing throughout the rifle. We also have his SMG with a nice little Deadpool logo on there, and a little Deadpool hugger thingy. NECA makes these huggers. I'm guessing that's what that's supposed to be over there on the back by the strap, but I don't know if that's technically what it is, but it looks really cool. And then we have these nice writings on there. It says Deadpool's gun, and it says this end toward enemy. Very cool. Just nice little touches. We also have his pistol, which is a really cool looking pistol. Big, nice RoboCop style pistol. That's what I'm talking about. I like that. And then we have his knife, which is a very nicely detailed knife. You can see they sculpted and painted it to have the tang going all the way down the handle, and it has the little studs in there to hold it in place. Very, very nicely done. And of course the pistol and knife both fit in their respective holsters and sheaths properly. Now, let's talk about the figure, and I think the best way to talk about the figure would be to start with the scabbard, since we just left off on the accessory. So let's look at the back of the figure. Now, this isn't really a problem, but it's something that's kind of worth noting. So the scabbard sits on his back and it pegs into these kind of big tabs and has these small round pegs to hold it in place. Now, it does snap in surprisingly well, but this is a big accessory on a big figure. So as you might guess, posing this guy is going to require some torque, and you may be able to leverage this scabbard very easily while posing him. So even though it snaps in place pretty well, it's also very easy to knock off due to those tiny pegs. It's not really a problem, like I said, because it fits nicely, it stays on, no problem, but it is a bit easy to knock off. So just be aware of that as you're posing, and it won't be a problem. It's just something I have to mention because that's what we do here. Now, as far as the articulation on this guy, they weren't kidding when they were talking about it being super articulated. It might be, actually it probably is, the most articulated figure they have. It's very well done, and it has a lot of the types of articulation that I've always wanted, and I even tweeted them one time. I tweeted to Randy, I said, hey, can we get these kind of ankles on the figures? Because I'd really like these kind of ankles. And he said something like they can't do it for stability purposes, but this guy has them, and they're great. So I'm not saying it's my fault that they did them. I'm just saying I'm very happy that they did. So let's get into it. The head is on what I guess is a double ball peg. You guys know with these figures it's kind of hard to tell what the articulation is because some of it's really stiff, but it feels a lot like a double ball peg, and you can lean the head from side to side pretty well. It doesn't lean this way quite as well as it leans this way, but I guess that's okay. And of course you can do the full rotation, and he can look up and down pretty well. That's all the way up, and that's all the way down. So not the best range, but probably enough. And you might be able to even force it a little bit more if you get some hairdryer action in there. For the shoulders, we have our standard ball hinge, which I really like. It works very nicely on this guy. You can raise the arm. Now, be aware, you can't see the articulation up here, so it's not going to go that far. So we're going to favor looks over posability in this regard, but still, you can get the arm out almost completely horizontally, so I'm okay with that. I think, yeah, I'd like to be able to get him to go out farther, but I also like the fact that it looks really good without being able to see the articulation. So it's a trade-off. And of course, you can rotate the arm all the way around this way. No problem at all. And much to my happiness, I guess you could say, he has a traditional bicep swivel, which I love. I always prefer to have a traditional bicep swivel, so that's really, really good. We also have a traditional double elbow hinge, which allows the arm to move very well. Look at that range. Almost 180. You can bend that arm all the way around, so that's great. Love it, love it, love it. And then for the wrist, we have our traditional swivel because they just peg in, and then we have a hinge. Yeah, there's kind of a paint issue on the hinge. I think we can let that slide. That little issue, not enough of an issue to worry about. So let's look over here at the torso. He has a traditional ab crunch, which we don't often see from the big NECA figures. In fact, I don't think I've seen it yet on a NECA figure. I could be wrong on a big one. But it works nicely. He has the really nice ab crunch going forward. It has a couple of clicks to go forward. You can see he bends over pretty far. You can also lean back a little bit. It's just one click. One of those was his leg. It's just one click, but you know, it's not bad. And the good thing about it is that it actually looks good when you use it. So I'm okay with that. I'm kind of indifferent whether it's an ab crunch or a diaphragm joint as long as they're well executed, so I'm okay with this. I know some people don't like it, some people do. I'm fine with it. I think it's good either way, and this one works, so I'm happy. And we do have nice sculpt work for the musculature also. We have a really nice waist twist. The belt is glued on, but it's soft, so you can move them around, no problem at all there. For the hips, we have our standard T-jointed hips, so you can bring them out. Get out of the way. You can bring the hips out all the way to the side, almost completely split, doing the splits. We can't even get that out of a Marvel Legends figure. It's almost embarrassing to mention Marvel Legends while talking about this figure, but you can bring the hips all the way out to the side. You can bring the legs pretty far forward, but they do get a little bunched up, so that's about it. And that's actually not that far. So it definitely could be better going forward. You might be able to squeeze a little bit more out of it if you heat them up, but it's kind of limited. I have to be fair. The hips are a little bit limited going forward. They do go back one click, and you do have your full thigh swivel, so that's pretty good. The knee, double jointed knee, pretty standard. Really good range. Can't complain about that. And then lastly, like I mentioned, we have these ankles, which are traditional hinged ankles. This one doesn't go that far forward due to the sculpt, but we can look at this one. This one goes pretty much all the way forward, all the way back. Really good range. We have our ankle rocker, like the Marvel Legends do, and we have a toe hinge. Now, he's a really heavy figure, so the toe hinge is going to take a lot of work to get him to balance on it. It can be done, though, so that's pretty cool. So there it is, guys. That's the new Deadpool from NECA, and when I see this and I think about Marvel figures and other people making them, I don't think there has been, in the history of Marvel figures, one that has been this good relative to the price point. There have been lots of good figures, sure, but based on what you're paying and what you're getting, this one blows the rest out of the water with a nuclear bomb. It's crazy. This thing is fantastic. You have to get one, so make sure you get over to Big Bad Toy Store. They're going to be available very soon, so you want to get those pre-orders in. There's a link in the description below. Make sure you do that, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that notification button, the little bell next to the subscription button. You need to turn that on, otherwise YouTube won't tell you I've uploaded a video. And I upload videos every single day. We talk about movies, TV shows, video games, action figures. We do unboxings, all kinds of fun stuff, so make sure you check out all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.